All right, joining us right now is a very important guest. He's a member of parliament. He's also a member of the House panel on information technology. And he has written and raised questions about social media giants and the sort of free run that they get, also representative of the government. So a lot of these questions that have to be asked will be asked of him. Youngest BJP MP, Tejasvi Surya, now joins us live. Tejasvi, thank you very much for joining us right here on NDTV. My first question, it was almost surprising that you came out in support of Donald Trump. Donald Trump, whose tweets and social media platforms were blocked by these companies for allegedly inciting hate. Now, surely you are not supporting hate, are you?
Absolutely. These are absolutely two different issues. The violence that took place at Capitol Hill was unprecedented, and it has been rightly condemned by every single conscientious citizen of the world, including heads of states, including Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi. And any person who believes in rule of law, in democracy, in constitutionalism, can in no way justify violence of any kind. So let's be very clear that all of us wholeheartedly and unequivocally condemn the violence that has taken place, the Capitol Hill violence. However, the banning of Donald Trump or deplatforming of Donald Trump from Twitter is a different issue. Well, Twitter may say that he has violated certain rules of the platform, and therefore they were constrained to take that step. My argument, Sanket, is that Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all of these big tech giants today have such big monopolies over information exchange and information broadcasting. Just take the example of Facebook in India. Combined with Instagram and WhatsApp, Facebook as a company has more than 80 crore unique Indian users. No television channel, regional, national, any channel has this kind of command over viewership. But these algorithms, the way these algorithms are designed, certainly have a bias. And I want to say that this is an issue that is beyond party politics, because you ask a Congress party person, he says, the Facebook algorithm or Twitter algorithm is biased against him or his ideology. Talk to a BJP supporter, they say that the algorithm is biased against the BJP. The question is, why are we allowing these so-called intermediaries, which by definition of the law must not deal with the content on the platform? Why are we giving them rights to monitor, alter and change the content, and also take measures of banning somebody or shadow banning somebody or decreasing the reach of a certain post depending on their algorithm, the whims of their algorithm? This is a big question that democracies of today must debate across the world, because this poses a very serious threat to the quality of our democracy and the fair and freeness of our elections. So this, the question that I want to raise here is beyond party politics, and the threat that modern day democracy is facing from these big tech giants, which are today the data oligarchs of the world.
True. Tejasvi, while I agree with all of that, my question is this. You are a member of parliament from the BJP. You are a representative of the youth for your party as the Bharatiya Janata Yuva Morcha president. You have the unique distinction of being a member of the House IT panel, Information Technology panel. Now, you've highlighted the problem, but obviously the country expects the solution from you and your government. You are the government. So what is the solution?
Absolutely. So I will, in my opinion, the problem lies here, Sanket. The the Information Technology Act, Section 79, defines these categories of companies like Facebook, applications like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, WhatsApp as social media intermediaries. They unfortunately are bracketed along with other intermediaries like say a Paytm or a phone pay or a such app which is not a data which is not a content platform. So what is happening is Section 79 specifically bars the intermediaries from taking any measures in altering the content, monitoring the content, or changing the content on the platform. This is a prerequisite for somebody to qualify as an intermediary. And because someone becomes an intermediary, they get a lot of protection under the law, and they're exempted from the liabilities because they are an intermediary. However, the rules that are framed under the IT Act permit these intermediaries to monitor content, alter content, take action on quote unquote hate speech on such other material. You may know that the Supreme Court of India has struck down Section 66A because it was found to be too broadly defined, too arbitrarily giving power to the state to take action, because the section was very broadly defined. The same words that are found in the unconstitutional 66A find presence under the rules of the intermediary rules made under this section. So this anomaly has to be fixed. I have written to the Honorable Prime Minister. I have also requested the Minister for IT in a long letter that I have written a few months ago. I had also raised this issue in the Parliament and had requested that the government must review these legislations and must fix certain accountability and liability to these social media intermediaries. I think that is the only way forward to deal with this, because either they must come out and declare that they are media platforms and must be governed under the rules that apply for media platforms, or they must say that they are intermediaries and must stick to roles of intermediaries and must not have the authority to remove content. Whether the content is from person A, person B is immaterial, but they cannot have the right to whimsically, based on algorithms which are opaque, determine what is fake news, what is hate speech, and take down any particular content.
But Tejasvi, I don't understand, because all political stakeholders, all political representatives say that Facebook, they must be brought to book, they must be made more accountable, social media must be made more accountable in this country, and yet there is never a consensus on how to go about it. This is such an emergency-like situation which has been debated and discussed for a very long time. But the problem is, Tejasvi, action against Trump was taken for spreading hate, right? Now, argument can also be made, and I can see that there are some arguments that this is a biased action. Why no action against Mahathir Mohamad, who openly advocated the killing of French nationals in response by Muslims? But the point is, hate is being propagated, beg your pardon, on social media. Would you propose some sort of a regulatory body, and what would be the contours of this regulatory body? Because self-regulation for these social media giants, it's very clear, has not worked.
Yes, absolutely, and that cannot be left to these private companies. It cannot be that, I am the platform, I am the judge, I am the jury, I am the executioner as well. It cannot be this way. The IT Act itself, under Section 69, envisages a scheme where, if there's a hate speech or a certain, illegal activity that is done, is reported to certain authorities of the state. The authorities in turn will request or direct the social media intermediaries to take action on a particular post. So unless a state goes through these things, and there is an objective method of understanding what is permitted, what is hate speech and what is not, it cannot be left to private agencies which have no accountability under the law. And most importantly, these big companies are controlling such large swaths of data. So, the issue is not at all about demoing or deplatforming Trump. There are hundreds of examples that either side keep giving that, we have been unfairly treated, that there is an algorithmic prejudice. So, unless this is addressed at a systemic level, where there is a regulator of sorts, which is a state authority, where if someone is found guilty of certain thing, or someone is accused of something, can report there, and therein they in turn decide whether this is hate speech or not, and direct the authorities, the platforms to take action. This is going to be a very, very dangerous space where we let these data oligarchs decide what is right, what is not, define what is hate speech, define what is fake news, and be the judge, jury and executioner in all of these cases by themselves.
Sure. No, Tejasvi, you call them data oligarchs, fine, that's a view which has been mentioned for a very long time. But I heard you say in your previous answer that there must be a regulatory body by the state. Now, when that happens, is that not a new form of bias? Because, if you want to attack hate news, many people who are closely affiliated with, number one, this government, and number two, the party which is in power, they've been associated with hate news. So if you will have the state build this regulatory body, will this not inherently be flawed, and then there will be an accusation that the regulatory body itself is flawed? Why would a government want to take action against its own members?
No.
How can
no, when I mean the state, it can be an autonomous body like the courts. So it can be, and there are various levels of appeal. So now, if the present day situation is, if Facebook takes down a post, I have to appeal to Facebook, and you never know why Facebook is taking something down, or what is the legal redress outside of the platform. However, if there is an independent authority or a regulator which can function in an autonomous manner, the authority will rest with them, and they can direct these platforms as to what is right, what is wrong, and if there is any matter that is a cause of litigation, it can be decided by courts of law.
Well, again, questions will be raised of who will be part of this authority, and if this is a deep sense of thought in the government, then why was this not done earlier? Because, this has been in the pipeline, in discussion for a very long time. In fact, there are political beneficiaries also, allegations that these platforms have benefited political parties. My final question, Tejasvi, before we let you go, we haven't heard from the government officially on this, and this is another raging debate. And this debate is around a form of digital dadagiri being done by the parent company Facebook as far as WhatsApp is concerned. Unilaterally having changed a policy, forcing people to accept it, and then saying that your personal data is going to be used for business. Now, my point is, what can we expect from the government of India? What can the government do? Because this is nothing short of dadagiri.
No, absolutely. This whole WhatsApp, regulations that WhatsApp is forcing and imposing on its users is strange. And what we must know is, Sanket, that WhatsApp is pushing for these regulations in all other countries except the EU. Why is it? Because in EU they have the strict GDPR regulations which govern data privacy and which mandates and regulates how these tech companies can behave and can deal with their customers. And I'm sure the government in all its seriousness has made efforts to bring a data privacy law in India. The Joint Committee of Parliament, of which even I am a member, has done more than 30 sittings to come up with a very robust data protection bill. But until that time, it is just indication. The behavior of these tech giants is an indication as to how they want to create and build on these monopolies and create more data farms, create more data monopolies, and influence every aspect of our life. Now, WhatsApp wants to get access to our status messages, our, DPs, every single thing, and give it to Facebook and give it to some, private companies. We also, Sanket, going forward, I want to even suggest that as a country, as people going into this, living in this information age, we must also contemplate new business models for these internet platforms which are free. Because if a platform is free and you're signing up for a service which is free, then know that you are going to be the product. So you are going to be the product which is going to be sold, and we need to think of new business models as well, because these are going to create huge threats in the coming days to not only our notions of liberty, constitutional law, but also politics and power as we know it.
All right, Tejasvi Surya, many thanks for joining us right here and explaining in detail what you feel. But let's hope that we get a solid response from the government and a proper policy that many people seem to be talking about. Thank you very much, Tejasvi Surya.
Thank you so much, Sanket. Namaste.